Right, so I would like you to navigate to your flash drive and go to where you are saving your project, because that is where we have saved all our reports. Now I want you to get ready to combine all your reports into one Excel workbook. So I'm going to walk you through this. So the first thing I want you to do is identify them. So I have mine there, my balance sheet, I've got my income statement, my journal entries, my ledger, my trial balance. The rest are other reports that I'm going to submit, but they are not part of this consolidated workbook I'm about to create. So only your Excel reports are the ones you will consolidate. So I'm going to use my control button because I'm selecting discontinuous files. So there, it's not a continuous list, but I'm going to skip some, so I need to press control, and that will allow me to select a discontinuous list of documents. Once I've selected them all, I want you to right click over one of them. Just right click your mouse button. If you lose the selection, just go and reselect and then right click and open. So what will happen now is that Excel will open all 5 documents. Right, so all 5 documents are open. I've moved my window so that you should be able to see those 5 documents. I want you to go to View. So the View tab, I want you to go to Arrange All. So click on that. And I want you to select Vertical in the Arrange All window. In the Arrange window, say OK. And so you see they are rearranged so that they are all vertical, and you can see each of them on the one screen. Now what we want to do is we want to literally drag and drop all these workbooks into one so that they all end up in one workbook. So this is how we'll do it. Make sure that you can see the tab name, not all of it. You won't be able to see all the tab name for each of the individual workbooks that are open, but just part of it, as long as you can see where the tab name is. And you can see that I can see mine, not all of them, but I can see the beginning of the tab name. And so what you want to do is to drag and drop a thumbnail of each of the 4 workbooks into the area between the tab name and the plus sign in the first workbook. It doesn't matter which workbook is first for you, because later we're going to rearrange the tabs to the order we want. So you can consolidate into any of the 5 workbooks that you have. Ideally consolidate into the one that is open at the most left, right? So the first one in your list of 5 workbooks that are open, that's the one we're going to consolidate into. So how are we going to do this? I want you to go and click in the second workbook listed, right over the tab name. I want you to left click your mouse button over it. So just go. Nothing will happen the first attempt. Try again. There you go. So when you click a second time, that's left click your mouse button over the name of the second workbook. A thumbnail will come up, and I want you to drag that white page thumbnail right across and drop it between the tab name and the plus sign in the first workbook. And see, you've literally dragged and dropped one workbook into another. I'm going to repeat the instruction for the to do this in the third workbook listed. I want you to click, left mouse click over it. The first time nothing happens because Excel is still trying to figure out what you're trying to do. Click over it a second time and a thumbnail will come up. I want you to literally drag your mouse with the left mouse button clicked all the way across and drop that thumbnail between the tab name and the plus sign in that first workbook. Do the same again. So hover your cursor for the tab name of the fourth workbook. Nothing happens the first time. Try again, and Excel will bring up a white thumbnail drag your mouse with the left mouse button clicked and drop the thumbnail between the tab name and the plus sign of that first workbook, and repeat that for the last workbook. And there you go. Now we've consolidated all 5 workbooks into one. Now I want you to go and click on that little back arrow, green arrow. If you click on it, it will open all your workbooks so that you can see them. Now our tabs are not named. You can see they're just named sheet 1, sheet 2, sheet 3, and so on. And so we're going to rename our tabs. Right. The first tab has my general ledger, so I'm going to go into the tab name and just right click over it and go and select rename. So if you right click over the tab name, it will give you a shortcut menu. I want you to select rename, and I want you to rename that tab general ledger. Enter. I want you to click on the second tab, and that is all your journal entries. I want you to right click over that tab name, click rename. You are left clicking rename to select it, and then name it journal entries. Enter. Go to the next tab, right click over it, left click over rename, and rename that income statement. Mine is income statement. Enter. The fourth tab, mine is my comparative balance sheet, so I'm going to right click over it, left click over rename, and rename that comparative. Okay, just name it balance sheet. Balance sheet. Enter. The last tab, right click over it, left click over rename to select it, and rename that trial balance. Okay. I'm going to remove that extra space. I don't need it. So trial balance. Enter. Very good. I want you, so the order of these, if we look at our instructions, should be journal entries. So I'm just going to drag my journal entry tab and drop it right between the end of the page there and journal ledger, and that will reorder my tabs so that journal entries is first, journal ledger is second, my trial balance should be third. So I'm going to go select it. That's just a left mouse click on that, and then drag it until it comes between general ledger and income statement. My balance sheet is next, so drop it between trial balance and income statement, and there my tabs are in the correct order. I'm going to ask you to go to your journal entries tab, and we're going to remove the split. If you look, you'll notice that there's actually a split in this Excel window. I want you to go and select the cell right on the bottom right hand of the split, make that the active cell, and I want you to go to view. View is the tab that is selected for mine. If yours is not selected, I want you to go and click the view tab, and you'll see that split is highlighted, meaning there's a split that is active. Right, and so with your cursor over the bottom right hand active cell on the split, I want you to click split, and that will remove the split from your journal entries tab. I want you to do the same for your journal ledger. I want you to go to that tab. I want you to click on the active cell that is the bottom right of the split, and you can tell the split by the gray lines that go right across the pages there, and click split. That will remove the split. Likewise, in the trial balance, you'll find here there's just one line for the split, so I want you to go to cell A6 in mine. I'm sure yours is the same cell A6. Make that the active cell and go and select split to remove that split. Likewise in the balance sheet and the income statement. And that's it. Now what I want you to do quickly again in as tidying up, we're literally just tidying up our reports so that they look nice and neat for our stakeholders. I want you to go into Journal Entries tab. I want you to put your cursor at the beginning of the dates. So all journal entries, I want you to double click so that you actually have a cursor in there just before 07/01/2016. I want you to select Alt, so just press Alt, the button, and then I want you to press enter, and then remove the Alt button and just press enter again. Once you've done that, I want you to go and select the second row, and I want you to drag it to widen it. There. So now what you have is your journal entries heading listed very neatly in the format that is acceptable for financial statements. That is with the company name first in the first line, the name of the financial statement second, and the date in the third line. I want you to do the same in the general ledger. Go in and make sure that you put an insertion point before the dates. Press Alt, and then at the same time without pressed, I want you to press enter and enter again. And then I want you to go select the second row and just drag it down to widen the second row so that now you have your headings listed neatly: name of company, the name of the statement, general ledger report, and the dates. I want you to do the same for trial balance. Put your cursor as at. Press Alt. With Alt pressed, press enter, and then remove your finger from Alt and enter again, and then go select row 2. I want you to drag that down so that now you have your heading neatly laid out. When you go to the balance sheet, you'll notice that there's no dates, because the dates are actually, since it's a comparative balance sheet, there's 2 dates right there and they're listed in the correct place, so there's no need to tidy up the headings for the balance sheet. The last one is income statement. Go and make sure that you put an insertion point before the date. Alt, enter, and then enter, and widen the second row, and there you go. So you've completed tidying up your reports. They are in the order that is required. You will see that there are some error indicators there. These are just indicators. If you read them, they'll say that the number is stored as text, and that's okay. You could always change it and say ignore error, which is what you should do, ignore error. And so you can go over where there are green error indicators and change that to ignore error. I don't mind. I'm not going to remove marks for it myself if you were to hand it in and it has those error messages in it. My main concern is just your ability to generate the reports, export them into Excel, and combine them into one Excel workbook. That will do. So I wouldn't take the time to go and remove all those error messages if I were you. Once you've done that, I want you to save this file with the proper name, because right now it's just one of your reports that you consolidated everything into, and it's still named one of those reports. I want you to go and say File, Save As, and browse back into your flash drive and just save that as all financial reports. So go Somaira Kandemiri or financial reports. So you're going to put your name and last name in there, or financial reports, and say save in the same place. There you go. And so this is the file that you're going to upload into Moodle for me, for marks. Okay. And so you see in your, I'll go and open it. I'll go into Moodle and show you. If you go into Moodle, you will see that in the requirements document, which is project instructions, you will receive 45 marks for your journal entries, because that is all those transactions we put in, and 5 marks for the general ledger, the trial balance, the balance sheet, and the income statement. Then for downloading your reports to Excel the way we did and submitting them in one workbook, you're going to get 10 marks. And then for uploading the and then what I want you to do with this is to upload it into Moodle. Now here it says upload the final backup file on the project. So this one here is too large for Moodle to accept, so you will not be able to do this. So don't worry about it. Keep it, because otherwise you have to send it to me somehow, maybe by flash drive or as a Google Doc. You can share it with me as a Google Doc, that works too. So if you can do that, share it with me as a Google Doc, that's perfect. Otherwise it's too large for most emails to accept, especially Outlook. So if you can send it through Gmail, Gmail may have the memory to accept it, so try to send it to me via Gmail. Otherwise I wouldn't worry about it. As long as you send me this consolidated workbook, that will be fine. Okay, so I'm going to close this, and I'm going to close out of Excel and prepare to drop that into Moodle. So that's what I would do. So well done if you've come to this stage. At this point, as I said, I want you to submit that file that is called all financial reports into Moodle, and you will get 4 marks. If you can, share your backup file with me via Google Drive or using Gmail. If it has enough memory to allow you, please do email your backup file to me. Otherwise I'm not going to remove marks for it, because I know it's too large to go into Moodle, and it may be too large also to go in as an email attachment. Your email may not allow you to do that, so do by all means try. Otherwise, well done for going through your Sage 50 project.